Hello, friends. Welcome to the show. This is Robert West. Anyway, in today's episode, we're going to talk about Joe Manchin. But before we do, just want to thank all the new viewers to the YouTube channel. Really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. Also, feel free to comment, like, share. Now let's get into the subject of Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is the former U.S. Senator from the state of West Virginia. He was a Democrat, but certainly didn't act like a Democrat. Now he's an independent. Some people are saying he may try to run for president for the next election. And now he's turned into a full-grown scumbag as a lobbyist for a company called Bondi Partners. Now, I did do a little quick research to see if Bondi Partners is associated with the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, or her brother. And the answer, from what I saw on a couple Google searches, was no. But we all know what lobbyists do. They use the influence, the connections that they made to try to sway people in Congress one way or the other on bills, policies, whatever. So, now, how did this guy catch my attention? I happened to be watching Bill Maher on HBO Max the other night. Sometimes I watch it, sometimes I don't. There really wasn't much on, so I said, I'll watch it. And this guy comes on. He's the first guest. And I never liked Joe Manchin because he always seemed full of crap. He never was really following what Democrats believe, and he really wasn't a Democrat. But unfortunately, because of the situation in the Senate, they used to have to put up with this guy, him and that former senator from Arizona, Kristen Sinema. They had to put up with their garbage and all their demands and stuff. And, because they needed their votes, and, a good portion of the time they did get their votes. But when it really counted, sometimes they didn't get the votes. Anyway, so why did I call this guy a scumbag? Well, let me tell you the kind of scumbag this guy is. He's a weasel, okay? Now, he's talking about Trump and saying, we want the president to succeed. And that's how I know this guy's a total scumbag. Total scumbag. No, I don't want the president to succeed on most things. I don't want him to succeed in cutting cancer research. I don't want him succeeding in kicking millions of people off their health care and getting rid of the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. I don't want him taking away funding for universities that's doing medical research. Okay? I don't want him supporting Israel, allowing Israel to do the things that they're doing currently. I don't want him succeeding in defunding Ukraine so they can't defend themselves against Russia. So yeah, I don't want him succeeding on almost everything that's possible because it's a disaster. That's why I don't want this man to succeed. The fact that he comes on a television program, and of course, Bill Maher, the putz that he is, just doesn't call him out on it. No, we don't want this guy succeeding because Bill Maher has gone to the point where he's just given up. He's rich. He's not the one in the struggle. He's already set for life. And you know what? He happened to have a career where he made millions of dollars, and he lives in a beautiful place. He gets booked quite a bit to do shows. during his off time from his HBO show. So he's not feeling the struggles that everyday Americans are. You know, he doesn't have to go to the grocery store and decide whether he should buy some food or buy some medicine. He doesn't have to make those struggles. So the fact that he just sat there and let this guy say he wants the president to succeed, you know, the problem is he's in the corporate media. He doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. He doesn't want what happened to Jimmy Kimmel happen to him. And he lets these guys go on and say nonsense instead of calling out the guy's BS. And that's what this Joe Manchin is. He's full of crap. I don't want him as a president. I don't want him I don't want him, period. I want him to go away, hang out in West Virginia. He can collect his Senate pension and he can sit on his steps drinking beer all day. That's what the guy should be doing. He shouldn't be lobbying the government. He was a scumbag senator and now he's a scumbag lobbyist. That's who the guy is. So he's not a reasonable guy. He's just a butt kisser. That's what this man is. He has no real beliefs, no ideas, no nothing. It's everything he wants to do is crap. So that's who the guy is. So he's definitely wins Scumbag of the Day award. I wanted to make the video sooner, but you know, we can't get to every possible subject every day. You know, I can only make so many videos in a day and still work a full-time job. But this guy, no. There's nothing good about this guy. He should not be anything. And the fact that he supports Donald Trump in a lot of the crap that Trump does, which is illegal as hell, it says everything you need to know about this man. All right. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I know it was a little bit of ranting, but honestly, this guy doesn't deserve any respect whatsoever. You know, he just needs to go away. He's bad for the country. He's bad for the Democratic Party. He's bad for any party. He's just a weasel. Okay. All right, friends, that's it for this one. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hope you like the expose on Joe Manchin because there's nothing great about this guy. Have a good day, friends. We shall see you in the next video.